Hey, thanks so much. This is the fourth iteration of this talk. I have done keynotes for DevOps Days and things like that before. I love this organization, but this is actually the first time that I've done DevOps Days Raleigh. So thank you very much for having me. Really happy to be here. This used to be a 1-hour keynote. Now it's a 5-minute impact talk. So we'll see how this goes. My name's Justin Reock. I'm currently head of DevRel for Cortex.io, and we build enterprise class internal developer portals. We have our own portal core, and we're able to do many of these things like help to scorecard initiatives around Dora. But today I want to talk to you about where DevOps came from and where it's going and what should we be thinking about our code. I think that it started a lot earlier than this. I think it started a lot earlier than the first DevOps Days in 2009 in Ghent, Belgium, where Patrice Dubois used the term DevOps to describe DevOps Days. I think it started with a mindset, and I think it started with this mindset, that it's no longer the big beating the small, but the fast beating the slow. That it is no longer the big monolithic organizations, but it's the agile, fast organizations that can respond to the needs of the market quickly. Now, this came to us a long time ago from what I like to refer to as the ancient business wisdom of the 1970s and 80s, specifically the work done by Dr. Ellie Goldratt and the book The Goal, where he would establish something called the theory of constraints. If you're not familiar with The Goal, you're probably familiar with the Phoenix Project in this community. A lot of you don't realize that the Phoenix Project is The Goal. It's the same book. It's just effectively been reimagined for a software development team. But it's exploring the theory of constraints in a software environment. And it's saying the same thing, which is that we must optimize for throughput instead of cost, right? We tend to optimize for cost, but when we do this, we forget that a business is really these three things, and it's subject to entropy. If we don't get that inventory converted into throughput as fast as possible, the inventory rots. In our case, that inventory is code, and the throughput is money, because the machines that we're working for are businesses. And so it tells us that the only initiatives that are going to positively impact long-term performance for companies are ones which increase throughput while simultaneously decreasing cost. This is the DevOps mindset. This is why we optimize for always moving forward and for never moving backwards. This is why we always make sure that when we're failing fast, if we release a bug, fine. We have a high deployment frequency that allows us to release a fix very quickly without ever pulling the conveyor belt back. And so now this is what we have, right? We've sprawled into this Cambrian explosion of DevOps tooling, right? We have so much stuff that has sort of moved us in this direction. And it's made us have to fundamentally think differently about the way we write our applications. We now have to optimize for ultra portable. How many of you are doing multi-cloud, right? Everybody, right? That's the big solution for the cloud outage we had with Amazon a few years ago that no one seems to have forgotten about. And so what do we do differently with our software now? Well, we should conform to frameworks like the 12-factor framework, all right? Who's heard of 12-factor? Oh, great. I'm so happy to see that. Good. This is a wonderful framework for making sure that we are optimizing our applications for portability as much as possible. It talks about doing things like making sure that the code base is kept in one place, right? Making sure that we're treating our logs as event streams, right? This is where like Datadog and Splunk really started coming in, where we're annealing aspects of this part of the 12-factor. So we're done, right? We have 12-factor. We've got great multi-cloud. We've fixed everything, right? Right? No, absolutely not, right? I think that, the good news is that we do have more freedom and portability. We do, as developers and as industry, but that has led to more complexity and disorganization. And ultimately, that means more toil, friction, and context switching for our engineers, right? This is the state of the art right now. Now that we've gone to containers, microservices, now we've got micros, minis, macros, siloed through different organizations, most of them being managed through spreadsheets or Confluent or some system of record that looks like this, which I think we might be able to admit is fairly nightmarish, right? So part of what the platform solves for, right, part of why we have just naturally evolved in this direction is that if we continue to chase bottlenecks to throughput further left to the point where the primary bottlenecks are right inside the brains of our developers. And now we have to focus on a platform that can optimize throughput just like we've been doing since the 70s. So Cortex asks, what if we had a clean sheet of paper to think about engineering systems create, manage, and catalog their services and what does that functionality unlock for our teams? Thanks very much.